I'd like to ask you this. You never really had any problems until now. To give our viewers an idea, though many already know this, what was it like for you suddenly to find you had so much opposition, just expressing your opinion? You cite a lot of facts in your book, you rely on very solid sources. It's not just conspiracy theory what you quote. They are really official sources you use. So how has that become a crime, just telling the truth? I've been facing this for several months already, though it's only kicking into high gear right now. It's merciless how the system lashes out. You can really call this Stasi Germany Mark II. East Germany is on its way back right now. Anyone who fails to act in conformity with the system is being painted black, discredited. And it's not as if the authorities want to engage substantively with anything we say. No, the tactic is always to bring us into disrepute. The European Central Bank didn't let me ask either of my questions back in January, which were about the local lack of accountability at the ECB. Knowing full well I was under surveillance, I decided to have a bit of fun. I read out my planned questions over the phone to 3 people. And I was quite certain after that they wouldn't give me my turn. To make this video more compelling, I'll give this much away right now, because I'm also keen that this video itself should lay bare how the system works. Here, anyone who steps out of line gets the thought police, and I say this as a 40-year-old who wouldn't have thought this possible 10 or 15 years ago. Just how people's thoughts and utterances have been ended up being policed here. Politicians and political foundations, like the Amadeo Antonio Stiftung, are all about ensuring there's a climate of fear. Even the police drop it, the fear will linger. People will think, oh, the stress of getting his book out has just gone to his head. It's more a case of, if he keeps being dragged through the mill, then the mental health will take battering, and then we've got him. Those are the kind of methods that we are seeing creeping out of the woodwork now. I'm sure it was even worse in the days of the Stasi and the Gestapo. But let me say that the German Justice Minister, Heiko Maas, is raping the freedom of expression in this country. And I'll say that wherever and whenever I can. I can only say we need every freedom-loving, democracy-loving person to wake up right now. It's now or never. We have to turn out on the streets. One thing is clear, just writing books isn't going to change anything out there. I wrote the book and I made my videos to open the eyes of as many people as possible. I keep saying this in the alternative media to bloggers and journalists. People, we really have to stick together now. We mustn't allow divisions. We can't afford some of us drifting off to the left-wing scene and others to the right. The worst thing is, it's not just a climate of fear here, but also a climate of hatred. Hatred of freedom-loving people. Hatred of those who love their country, who want to keep Germany safe. They're being targeted, and I find that completely irresponsible. The ironic thing about that is that they are the very ones being accused of hate speech. They only want to have their say, but they often end up being accused of hatred. So in fact, Amadeo and German politicians are often the biggest hate merchants of all, which they accuse others of being. You see, nobody from the political caste will open a back channel to me, now that I've burnt my bridges with this book. I can only say that for me, the good life is over. Now a lot of my viewers are quite defeatist. Nothing can be done, it's all lost, that kind of attitude. If that were so, we might as well give up and sit in a corner. So I'd like to ask you what the positive vision is that keeps you going. In writing your book and your other work in general, what is your view of what you're aiming to achieve? Because every no you say to the system enables a yes to something else. What's the yes that you're fighting for, actually? Well, first and foremost, it's a yes to the freedom of expression and yes to true democracy. And one of the things that democracy must entail is this. That whether you tell me you're a lefty or whether you tell me you're a paid-up member of the AfD, I should be just as ready to have a drink with you this evening either way. We need binding referenda, both at national and at the EU level. I'm pro-Europe. The only hang-up I have is about open borders. The fact that we generally have open borders with Switzerland, for example, is fine. But as a convinced Europhile, I'm not in favor of centralizing everything in Brussels. You know the joke, the EU has become the EU-SSR? Yes, I know. And I do believe that. I take a look around and watch the good videos that are made. I can only say that we all need a vision, and for me the vision is that we take to the streets after September's federal elections. I have no illusions. Merkel will most likely be re-elected as chancellor. But if we manage to weaken Angela Merkel's vote significantly in the next few weeks, then her Christian Democrat members of parliament will begin turning on her from day one after the election. Then the succession war in her party will get underway, and one day she'll be toppled by her own side. And I'd like to think that this book is my contribution to that. By publishing the chapter in it about Angela Merkel, whom I present here without leaving any detail out, and by getting major magazines to agree to pre-publish it exclusively, I'm hoping to have done my bit towards the decisive undermining of Angela Merkel. Those who lived in East Germany know by experience that you need 20 to 30% of the population on side to overturn a regime. And I would say we already have 10 to 15% of Germany behind us, easily to be the force of change. Another 40% of society is always fellow travelers. In East Germany, when the wall fell, you called them overnight revolutionaries, didn't you? And once we managed to enthuse 20 to 30% of the nation's people on side for direct democracy, then we're really talking business. Just imagine if we all combined forces in the next few months and founded a new bloc in the Bundestag for direct democracy. We already have a few campaign groups for that, but I mean all the alternative media appealing to all Germans, and started monthly demonstrations in front of the Chancellor's office in Berlin for direct democracy. And leveraged all our media impact to spread that campaign. And made videos to explain just why it's so important to have direct democracy. Because people have been so softened up over the decades. They've fallen for the idea that the average guy is so stupid that we need parties, because the individual voter is so uninformed. Well, if that's how it is, we might as well abolish democracy right away. You could proclaim me Kaiser of Germany. I like that. I'm only being ironic here. That's important too. We have to reach people again, starting at school, getting them educated in civics. We have to start educating people again to cultivate their own opinions, instead of just superficially learning empty knowledge. I have a goddaughter, a smart girl who's just turned 18 and passed her pre-university exams. But she's never even heard of George Orwell's 1984. And when I ask her, did they teach you at school to have your own opinions? She tells me no. She tells me straight out that students who are known to have voiced criticism of Angela Merkel's immigration policies are not even being admitted anymore. Why aren't we up in arms about that? That's a real scandal. And as I said, we really need a vision. The worst thing that all the people watching this still aren't daring to come out of their shells. We aren't daring to confront our defeatism yet. And I say, in fact, I end my book with this quote from Bertolt Brecht: "He who fights might lose. He who doesn't fight has lost already." Just a brief question about how the book has been received. It's climbed rapidly up the Amazon rankings, but I'm reading that it's taken up to 4 weeks to deliver the print edition within Germany. What's going on? Amazon, I tell you now, is doing the best to slow me down. But even so, we managed last weekend to hit the top 20 books on German Amazon. There are over 3 million books on sale there. So to make the top 20, and to be the bestseller in German politics category, bestseller in money and finances category, to make it so high despite the frustrations is quite something. Oscar Wilde once wrote of the danger of knowing the price of everything and the value of nothing. What we need today and tomorrow is to appreciate the value of freedom, so that we can know how worth defending our freedom is. That's one of our challenges. The other, and I know I'm plugging my book again, but anyway, is that, as I say in a preface, Oscar Wilde once wrote, everything is going to be fine at the end. And if it's not fine, it's not the end. That's what I would like to end with. Thank you for watching and listening. I believe this was a very compelling discussion. Thorsten, I wish you the best, and thank you so much for talking to us about a very crucial issue. Thank you. Please donate using the PayPal or bank details on screen to keep independent journalism and free opinions on the air on this channel.